etc.
No
Obviously
Rashford.
Bruno was out. No Rashford, I forgot about that as well.
Mm.
So, we missed a lot of players. So I think if we can just sit deep and be compact, and the reason I mentioned Manchester City was
Yeah.
the Man City games because we did that. We didn't attack at all. I mean, so we can play a deep block, which suits the style. Like I don't understand this transitional stuff where we can play bottom, bottom of the table teams or teams that don't really score like Everton, and they come to Old Trafford and have 20 shots, and I know a lot of them are blocked, and I know that we are the third best team in terms of goals conceded this season. I think only fourth, maybe. Sorry, I think Liverpool,
Yeah.
Arsenal, and City have obviously conceded less, and we're joint with Tottenham. So yeah, going into the game on Sunday, big boost Hoyland being fit because we have someone who's a finisher, vocal point. I like that front three. They're unbeaten, aren't they? Rashford,
Yeah, it's
Ganacho,
true.
and Haaland. Sorry, Hoyland as a front three are unbeaten with
I love
Cass in
it.
the middle. Cass didn't play against Liverpool, and so there was another player missing. But the way they played against City, the Endo was excellent. They just found gaps, McAllister. That's our weakness. I don't know. I just think if we sit deep and play Wan-Bissaka right back, get Lindelof off, Maguire's back. So I don't know. Nunes looks good as well for them in recent weeks. I'm hoping
Um,
they played all their juice after
I
yesterday.
I was looking at Endo, and I think Endo's a fantastic player. He just continues to improve week in, week out, and that's what Klopp does with his players. It really, really annoys me the fact that they won the Carabao Cup. They end up going into the next round of the Europa League, and they've got Atalanta as well. The third weakest Italian team left, and they've gone for Atalanta in the draw, which is crazy. And I'm just like, this is
Yeah.
very, very difficult for them, for Atalanta, not for Liverpool at all. Which would be very, very difficult for them, which is very crazy indeed. It's very it's like we'll start the live stream. It's perfectly fine. We'll get into Champions League in a bit, but again, I need to kind of ask you, Joshua, when you're looking at this Champions League run, that Man United had in the season, how did Højlund still get 5 goals in the group stages? That makes me laugh personally when I'm looking at it. It's very, very funny.
I think that kind of, that Champions League campaign sums up Eric Ten Hag's second season at Man United. It
Mm.
doesn't make sense because
There's
when you
not.
watch, when you watch us, we are bad, and then
Mm.
all of a sudden you get a few victories, you get a few games, and then all of a sudden it doesn't look so bad. You can spin it both ways because I look at that Champions League campaign and I think I blame Onana
It's true.
because there's
I blame
points,
Onana 100%.
you know.
It's
I,
very,
I
it's just, it's straightforward how Onana cost us our Champions League run. It's very, very
so
painful.
like, to finish fourth as well. Like, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think Hoyland was good. We scored so many goals away from home. Like last year, we struggled away from home. Old Trafford's our fortress. Got three at Copenhagen, three at Galatasaray, three at the Allianz Arena. Come on, you got to win your home games. That's your bread and butter in Europe. If you can't win at home, there's no point coming to the party. And even though, and the irony is, in our only game we won at home, Anana saved a late penalty.
I can't hack it.
It's a mess of a season, man. Honestly, it's just. But then we still have an opportunity for a semi-final. It's crazy. It's just we can still get fifth potentially. Even though we're both not confident of that, things are still open. It's just like get it done. You're gonna be
Needs to be
bad.
done.
Be bad. Just don't like kid it. But Hoyland was impressive in Europe though. He should have got more goals than like away at Copenhagen. And that disallowed goal. You were at the game, weren't you? Galatasaray, that one where you swept it, the player went. Oh,
I know Nana cost
um,
us the game again in that game. Fun times. Oh no, it was very, very painful as
you
well.
asked the question, didn't it? You asked the question.
No,
I was
it's
there,
true.
but
It's just you're looking at Rasmus Højlund, what he did in the Champions League, and I thought let's have a topic before Sarah joins us as well. So I thought it'd be better to have that before we start recording. Sarah, how are you doing, my friend? It's good to see you.
Hi, good. Sorry I was late. Good to see you both.
No, you weren't
no,
late
no,
at all. It was absolutely fine. We were just chatting about Manchester United, and like I said as well, like I didn't plan it as well as I normally did, but it's a Friday, and we're gonna start recording in three, two, one. We should be on the live stream anyway. The live stream should be up and running. Perfect. Let's go. Here we go. First time when I'm recording the live stream during when I'm fasting as well. So I've got no water bottle to quench my thirst. But this Champions League draw has quenched my thirst, and I am no longer starved of amazing games in the Champions League. Sarah is looking good for Barcelona because you've got PSG on your side. Atletico Madrid and Borussia Dortmund are facing off against each other. Arsenal versus Bayern Munich, which isn't as straightforward as people seems. And the tie that everyone was asking for, Real Madrid and Manchester City, is a quarter-final tie, not a final tie, not a semi-final tie like last season and the season before that. It's a quarter-final tie. Sarah, let me hear your first thoughts on the draw itself, and Joshua, I'll come to you afterwards as well. And then we'll go through each game, just breaking each game down bit by bit, which will be good fun. Let's see your thoughts, Sarah.
Yeah, it's so tasty. Honestly, for the first time in what feels like ages, I feel like every match is quite evenly balanced. All the games are going to be amazing, but I don't think you can necessarily side to one team versus another in any of these draws. They're so well balanced. We know there's going to be two legs. Anything can happen. And it makes it more exciting because it finally like we didn't see not that City were going to get away with an easy team this time around because all the teams are pretty big, but
We
the
were
fact
scared they were going to get Dortmund. We were scared they were going to get
we
Dortmund.
were, and no disrespect to Dortmund, but kind of fun. But the
The
fact
weakest of the eight. That's a good way, Mark, isn't it? The
that
weakest of the eight.
exactly. And I think the fact that Real got City, like arguably the two strongest teams, like it's so good. I think, yeah, I can't wait. Like for me, like this is gonna be cinematic. As a Barca fan, the draw against PSG, they were one of the teams I would have preferred to have in the quarterfinals. Of course,
Nice.
yeah, like Kylian Mbappe is fantastic, but I think it's going to come down to him. It depends what kind of game Mbappe has, but I think all the pressure is on him. The history between PSG and Barca, we know it too well. I mean, I was sending in group chat the Sergio Roberto last minute goal in the remontada in
What a game.
2016. Like it brings back so many memories, but that also means PSG are gonna want that revenge. So I think it's gonna be a very exciting match. Not gonna be easy. Like I said, though, none of these games should be easy, but I'm happy Barca got PSG over, let's say, like a Real or Manchester City, maybe even Arsenal.
It's true. Joshua, first thoughts on the draw, and then we'll go game by game, reviewing all of them and where the games will be won or lost. But let me hear your first thoughts, Joshua.
Really good, really good. I think, like honestly, from a neutral, because I'm
Box
neutral, of
office.
course, we're neutral. It's you have
I'm not this time, as you can
you
see.
have.
I'm
I'm
going
not
back.
neutral. I don't believe in neutrality. That's I don't have a job after this pod. But honestly, it. I love the semi-final draw even more than the quarters. The way it's been split is
Mm,
perfect because they're all even. But there are a hierarchy, and that for Real Madrid, City, Arsenal, Bayern, you'd say Bayern maybe not. Yeah, no Bayern, yeah, maybe not Bayern. But I'm looking at Atleti, I'm looking at Barcelona and PSG. I'm thinking, you're gonna have a great opportunity to get a final. You've stayed away from Madrid. You don't want Matt Cafuff. You stayed away from the European champions. You stayed away from an awkward tie against Arsenal, and I just think it's great. It tests Arsenal, Manchester City, gives Tuchel an opportunity to kind of give him some juice in that Bayern side before he departs. And
true.
Madrid, Man City, it's the trilogy, isn't it? They face each other third year in a row now. Not quarter final, not the semis, of course, but Real Madrid got blown away. We spoke about this on Tuesday night when we did the live stream. Can Madrid kind of learn from that first leg, making sure they're in the lead? Because that's what's going to be needed to get past Manchester City. But no, I think it's good, man. I think it's really good for Atleti. I think they're the big winners, my personal opinion. They're the major big winners.
I think
Yeah.
I think we'll get to Athletic Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund last, but my first initial thoughts on it is I think Athletic Madrid are going to the final in this one. That's my bold claim. I think Athletic Madrid can
Same,
get to the
same,
final in
same
this one,
here.
which would be good. But there's no time like the present to start off on the biggest game in the Champions League than Real Madrid versus Manchester City. My initial thoughts when I'm looking at this blockbuster tie in what we've got coming up in Manchester and in Madrid is it all comes down to the defenses for me. I'm looking at the defenses for both sides. I'm looking at what teams have had injuries recently as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing with which defense will hold out the most as well, because we saw last season in the second leg, Real Madrid's defense just got obliterated by Bernardo Silva, by Mahrez, by Phil Foden, by Erling Haaland, by Kevin De Bruyne as well. And that's where they lost the game in that second leg as well. It's really it's terrible to see Carlo Ancelotti's aging side at the time not really deal with what he had to do against Manchester City. And Pep Guardiola literally proved why he's one of the greatest managers of all time as well. But for me, when I'm looking at it this time around, you're looking at Manchester City and they weren't that great against Liverpool. Again, Liverpool are probably one of the few teams you can say can go toe-to-toe with a Manchester City. Real Madrid, I would say, are another one as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how, realistically speaking, that can Jude Bellingham actually penetrate this Real Madrid, this Man City defense? You've seen him go through La Liga like it's just a hot knife through butter. He's killed it in La Liga. You've seen him in the Champions League do against every single team. You could say he kind of stuttered against RB Leipzig, but I think the whole team at Real Madrid stuttered against RB Leipzig as well. And we're getting two of the greatest managers of all time, in Carlo Ancelotti versus Pep Guardiola in this quarter-final tie, which in my opinion would have been a great final. I think everyone would have agreed that had been a fantastic final. Sorry, you said it before. That would have been a great one game to see each other, to see them playing against each other as well. But sorry, let's start with you. Where do you think this game will be won or lost? Your initial thoughts on Real Madrid versus Manchester City?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it was a final, it would be different, right? Like you just alluded to, it's one match. Now we have two matches, and we know the second leg of Champions League matches have brought the drama this season, especially. I'm so happy as a Barca fan, but I think also, even if you're a neutral fan, I don't know if you guys can agree, because this allows other teams to get to the final, because this probably should have been the final if we're talking about the two strongest teams in this tournament, but now the tables have turned, and I think it's great. I also love the Pep narrative here, because he hates Madrid and hate him, and I love that. So I'm curious to see. We've seen issues with both sides. Granted, it looks like Eder Militao and Thibaut Courtois will be returning shortly to Madrid. That could be a game changer. Are they going to be fit enough? What it's tough bringing in a player that hasn't played basically all season. So will they even play? Hard to say, but this Madrid side, I think, in two legs can get the job done against City. I see this playing out as, is the first match at the Etihad?
Do we know?
No.
Joshua, no, it's not confirmed yet, is it?
Bernabeu.
Bernabeu first. Yeah. Same as last season.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I just see Madrid as more of a team that has been able to fight until the finish. Even when they're not playing well, they're able to get these results. They claw their way to the final, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor against a team like City. We've kind of seen City, even especially against Liverpool, they just got shut down. And credit to Liverpool, but they also just kind of stopped playing. Like we weren't able to see them finish the match at full strength, I feel. And with Real Madrid, they are just fighters, and we know them in this tournament. I think that's gonna be the difference. But when you have players like Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri, Haaland, it is so hard to. Yeah, Phil Foden, of course. I am slightly edging towards Madrid in two legs. If it was a one-off match, could be a different story, but it's gonna be tight.
Yeah, I agree as well. Joshua, you've heard our thoughts on the defenses. Sarah has alluded to the fact that Thibaut Courtois and Eder Militao will be back for the first leg, allegedly, as well. They're back in training, I believe, at the moment. But can you see anywhere else where you think this game can be won or lost, or is there anything in particular that you think we've missed out? And think, you know what, we can actually look at this from another perspective.
That's me, or
that's you, Joshua. Sorry, I was talking
sorry. I think it's a big tie for Jude Bellingham. I really do. I look at that. He's a class act. He's brilliant. He's gonna have high hopes going into the Euros as England's main man behind Kane, because what he's achieving after 3 o'clock kickoffs or wherever you are. Oh, he scored again. Oh, he scored again.
Another one.
This is what it's about. This is where you put yourself in that bracket of the elites of midfielders. He's so young. I'm not going to put pressure on him. But he's facing the best. He's facing Bernardo Silva's, the Rodri's, the De Bruyne's. Can he shine in that 10 role? Can he can he go drop a bit deeper? Can he chase? We don't see that enough. We haven't seen that. We've seen him play for Dortmund. Yes, we've seen. That's not a disrespect to La Liga. Of course, there's challenging teams out there, but he's going to go to the Etihad second leg, where this is going to be a ferocious atmosphere. Can he produce? And that's not a question against his ability. It's just what we want. We want to see the best players perform in the biggest games. And if he shines, that's going to be a major issue for Manchester City, because how can you stop that type of player in that form he's in at the moment with Vinicius? So that's something last year that Real Madrid didn't have. This year they do, and that's maybe something they lacked in those two ties to unlock that door, because City do look defensively weaker. They are so vulnerable against a poor Liverpool side. But Liverpool are well coached, and Real Madrid will be well coached. So Manchester City's record this season, it's a big lot. If I count Manchester United as a big team, they've only beaten Manchester United.
You'll flatter Man City if you keep Manchester United in that.
But they haven't beaten. They haven't beaten. Chelsea 11th, but in terms of traditional big side, lost to Villa, who were in the top 4. Really good fans watching. They lost to Villa. They drew to Spurs at home, lost to Arsenal, and they drew to Liverpool home and away. Haven't beaten a big side this season outside Manchester United. So that's telling. So right, yeah,
Worrying,
it's
actually.
balanced, and I don't think Man City are clear favourites there, and I don't think a City fan can have that confidence like they did last year because they're just not firing as they are. Although it would be 6, 7 points clear in the league, which they're not.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
yeah, I think Bellingham is an interesting one. Foden, yes, but can Jude turn it up in England as well? Because he wants to be the star boy, and I think for his talent coming back to England, he's got to produce. It'd be nice for him to produce.
It would be great to see Jude Bellingham turn up against Manchester City as well. But one final talking point, Sarah, I've got to ask you from my point of view. You're looking at Vinicius Jr. and you're looking at someone who has been the poster boy at Real Madrid for such a long period of time now, which is great to see as well. We saw him last season score a fantastic goal in the first leg against Manchester City, which is 1-1, I believe, in the first tie as well. My key battle in this one will be Kyle Walker against Vinicius Jr. We talked about the defense in both the games. Well, I said it earlier as well. But Kyle Walker, he's been slowing down a bit this season from what I've seen as well. He's been having players like Luis Diaz make a mockery out of him, which is not what we expect from Kyle Walker. He's had his off-the-field problems as well. We've seen him get rattled by Neil Maupay against Brentford. Could this be could this be where Kylian Mbappe? Could this be where Vinicius Jr. takes the mick out of Kyle Walker and says, you know what, this may be the end of you at the top level of football? Because Kyle Walker has been slowly regressing this season, from my point of view as well. What do you think, Sarah?
I think so. I think also because of the Mbappe narrative and
Yes.
likely going to.
That was a slip of the tongue, by the way. I'm sorry, I'm fasting, so I'm mentioning things that I shouldn't be mentioning, but Mbappe is always on my mind when talking about Real Madrid.
On all of ours. No, really, it's going to be trying to really show up in all these massive European matches, because if he ends up staying at Madrid and Mbappe comes, it's going to be interesting to see who plays where. But there's also talks of potentially Vinny going if Mbappe comes, which I think is a shame. But he's going to want to show up, because regardless of what the future holds, he wants to show Madrid, hey, I'm still that guy. Remember me? So I think he's going to turn on the gas for this game. Kyle Walker, yeah, we've seen him slip up a bit, but he's still a fantastic defender. I wouldn't write him off just yet, and he knows the level of this match and what it means, and it's Madrid, and it's arguably the biggest match of the quarterfinal, maybe this season in the Champions League. So I wouldn't put anything past him just yet, but like I said, I'm edging towards Real Madrid, and I would take Vinny Jr. right now in this draw against Kyle Walker too, just slightly.
Yeah, it's looking good as well. But we'll look forward to the Real Madrid game against Manchester City back in April, I think, when they're playing in April, aren't they? First quarterfinals in April.
Both legs.
Nicely done. We'll look forward to that coming up in April. Second game to talk about, we are going to Munich, and we are going to be talking about Arsenal and Bayern Munich, because there are so many on-paper narratives that look absolutely fantastic. The return of Harry Kane to North London against his favourite team to score against Arsenal. We're looking at the fact that Arsenal's new-blooded team under Mikel Arteta have a never-say-die attitude, and they don't look to surrender as easy as former Arsenal teams have done in European football as well. The first time they're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League for, I think, 14 or 15 years now for Arsenal, which is great to see from an English perspective as well. But with Joshua, I'm going to come to you for this one as well. Do you think it's right to see how Arsenal are very confident against this Bayern Munich side? Because Thomas Tuchel, he's got that experience of winning the Champions League this decade, so recently as well, with an underperforming Chelsea team. Is it right to see Arsenal overly confident about their chances against some of the bigger teams in European football? Because Arsenal are still the new boys, in my opinion, in European football. But let me hear your thoughts on this initial tie, Joshua.
I think early in the stream, I said the big winners were Atleti, the biggest losers were Arsenal.
Really?
In my opinion, Bayern is a hard draw, but it's a winnable draw for them, 100%. Their first leg at the Emirates, Bayern supporters are not going to be in the stadium. They've got to kill the tie there and then.
That was their own fault. That was their own fault. Bayern fans, stupid what they did in Copenhagen. Did they do it in Manchester when you went as well?
No. They weren't. Nah, they were singing "Football's Coming Home." Minutes to spare. In English as well. In English, of course. But yeah, I think for Arsenal, they should have confidence. They're a good side. I'm very complimentary about Arsenal, which annoys a lot of people, because they're good. The stats will tell you that they win a lot of football games. They're not mugs, but they have that old mentality which we saw seep in against Porto. There's no way of Arsenal, or with due respect to Porto, of course, but where Arsenal are in their project in their season should be going into winning on penalties against Porto. That shouldn't be it. You should be sweeping them aside and they should be going through. And I think Bayern gives him an opportunity with Tuchel, with him leaving, with all those players there, to they'll look at that and think Arsenal of old. You know, we've really seen Thomas Muller on social media calling out Kai Havertz in
Yeah,
terms
that
of
was
the comeback.
odd. That was so odd.
I don't understand. But they still got memories of the 7-1. The last time they played Bayern, they lost 7-1. So this
10-2
is
as well.
different now. Yeah, there you go, 10-2. But it's different now. Arsenal are a well-oiled machine. Saying that though, if they go to Allianz and it's a draw, it's going to be tricky because it's a proper test again. It's one of those ones they haven't faced in a very long time. And that's why these draws are always interesting, because these little things, if the second leg goes at the Emirates, I fancy Arsenal get a result in Germany and come back. There isn't.
Really? You think they could
Yes,
do it
yeah.
in the Allianz?
No, just survive. I'm not saying you got to win the football game. You just don't. You
Ooh.
just have to have something to bring to the Emirates. But
I think
because
Man
it's
City
flipped
were the
around,
only team that have beaten, yeah, Man City are the only team that have beaten Bayern Munich in the Champions League for like the last 4 years at the Allianz Arena, and Man United were the last team to score 3 or more goals.
yeah.
So there are cracks appearing at the Allianz Arena for Bayern Munich. They're still longer the fortress that we've seen before, as well. But Sarah, let me hear your thoughts on Bayern Munich as well. We've spoken glowingly about Harry Kane all season, about how he's been the missing piece of the puzzle. He scored nearly 30 goals already this season as well for Bayern Munich. And of all the narratives of, he's a problem, he's a curse, wherever he goes, they're not going to win a trophy, I'm still backing Harry Kane to be the top scorer. Like I mentioned the other day in the Champions League, I think he will have a very good time against William Saliba and Gabriel, because they've been absolutely fantastic as a partnership. But I think Harry Kane has been a different level of striker that they're not used to playing in the Premier League anymore, because there's a certain caliber of Haaland, Kane, and I think that's really it. I wouldn't say Isaac's up there, Tony's up there, Watkins is not up there, Rasmus Hojlund, as much as I want to say, is not up there as well. I think this will be a tough battle for William Saliba and for Gabriel. But are there any battles from your point of view that you think, you know what, we need to watch out for this in the quarterfinals?
I mean, is Alphonso Davies going to play?
Is he back for it?
Is he back for it? Is he ready for Bukayo Saka?
Is Saka ready for Alphonso Davies?
That is so fun. That for me is so fun. We got two of the younger, best kind of players in their position right now across Europe. I think like Saka's been phenomenal this season. We know that. Alphonso Davies, even though he has issues, it seems a little bit with either Tuchel, whether he's leaving, he's not getting in the lineup as much, but we know the pace on this kid is not a joke. I think that would just be such a fun matchup, because they kind of even each other out. You know, it's not like a veteran going up against the rookie. They're kind of at the same place in their careers. So I think
they both started really young in professional football as well. I think 17 for both of them as well. Yeah. Crazy talent that they both have on them as well.
No, truly. I think that would just be fun. If Arsenal knock out Bayern Munich, it's a long day for Harry Kane. And I don't even mean that as a player, because I think he's been amazing. Who's not saying he's been amazing? He's gone to Bundesliga and he's absolutely smashed it. But you know that's just going to be the narrative for so long. Arsenal, arch rivals of Harry Kane's beloved Tottenham, and they knock him out of what is his basically final chance to win silverware this season. Oh, poor
Except
Harry
the
Kane.
Euros.
Please.
I'm back in England. I'm back in England.
Anderson, get the guy a wheelchair. I'm not worried about you, please.
Kobbie Mainoo should have been selected. I don't get that one at all. I agree with you on that one, to be fair. But with Harry Kane as well, Sarah, I just need to ask you, when you're looking at all the things he's done as well, do you see his supporting cast as quality have they been in the Bundesliga? Do you think they're going to be good enough against Arsenal? Musiala, who I've been raving about all season, Serge Gnabry coming back from his injury to face his former club as well, Leroy Sané, who we've spoken about being a bit part quality player and a bit part a lackluster player, really, because he's underwhelming at times, Leroy Sané. But will his supporting cast in his attacking trio, I would say, this attacking trio we've got behind him, will they be supporting Harry Kane in the right way? Because I personally don't think so. I think it's got to be up to Harry Kane and Harry Kane alone. But what do you think, Sarah?
It's two of them. It's either going through Harry Kane or it's going through Jamal Musiala. If either of them are having a bad day, it's going to be really tough for Bayern, because we've seen that's basically their only two threats. Serge Gnabry coming back from injury. Okay, let's see how he does. But this Bayern team has been so underwhelming this season, because I think the fact that they're relying on two players out of their 11. We've seen Lazio beat Bayern. That is enough for me to say anyone can beat Bayern. true. And sorry, Lazio, but they're just not having a good season.
And you
They're
saw Man United score 3 goals against them at the Allianz
Don't
Arena.
stop
Our
bringing
Man
Man
United.
United involved. Stop leaving us alone.
Højlund scored his first Man United goal against his Bayern Munich side,
no, but
Joshua. There is
it,
credit to be said
they
for
were they
Højlund.
were struggling against the Manchester United side that was also struggling way more. I know the struggle isn't over for United yet, but they have slightly turned this corner. We can recognize that. But this was weeks ago now when United was really like in the mud. So I don't know. For me, it looks like Arsenal is kind of getting better, whereas I don't know, Bayern have kind of just plateaued, and this is what they are. I think Arsenal can beat this Bayern Munich, if I'm honest. But yeah, Harry Kane's gonna be a massive factor, regardless if they win or lose. The guy has been incredible this season, and I just feel bad that he's being tied to basically carrying a team because that's just unfair.
Yeah, it's a very poor narrative, but he's played very well as well. The last topic, Joshua, about Arsenal versus Bayern Munich, I want to get on to with you about, especially, is the managers, Mikel Arteta
Mm.
and Thomas Tuchel. So we've seen someone who's won the Champions League, but has been sacked from the club that who he won the Champions League with. And you're looking at his team where he's going to be leaving at the end of the season as well, disgracefully before the end of the season, which hasn't been great for Bayern Munich or for Thomas Tuchel. But you're looking at Mikel Arteta, how he's grown his project at Arsenal. You mentioned earlier on the stream as well, it's a different type of project that Arsenal have done with gone long term with Mikel Arteta, and it looks like it's working. Where can you see Thomas Tuchel taking the advantage over Mikel Arteta in this quarterfinal tie for Arsenal and Bayern Munich?
He struggled when he managed at Chelsea against Arsenal. Also had a really good record under Arteta. But I think it's the European experience will be telling. Arsenal
Yep.
are going into the unknown, and I do agree with Sarah. I think all logic in terms of the two teams and their seasons, Arsenal, Bayern, but Arsenal have this mentality thing. Everybody has this thing where they look at Arsenal from 20 years ago. I always try and shake it off people. Like, no, you're good. I think the Arsenal fans, you're actually all right. Like, because last season they should have been Premier League winners. The only reason they didn't win the league was because they just lacked that belief. They shouldn't be drawing to Southampton at home. They lose. I can't remember. They shouldn't be drawing to West Ham. They shouldn't be
They shouldn't have
losing
lost to
to.
Sporting Lisbon on penalties as well in the Europa
Yeah,
League.
they should, they should be beating Porto in 90 minutes. I'm going to still hit that point home.
Mm.
And with Tuchel, he can use that to his advantage because Arsenal, if they don't hit the ground running in that game, if Martinelli and Saka and Odegaard are not running, the pressure, the tenseness in the crowd, but they can blow them away. I think Tuchel will be smart, he'll be pragmatic. He knows that he's got Harry Kane in regards to play on the break of Musiala. He'll find gaps. Arsenal give you chances. They play a higher line. They suppress you. It's just about survival for Bayern Munich. I really do think they can take Arsenal to Germany with a chance. Arsenal will do themselves. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's true.
Logically, Arsenal should win this tie. That's in terms of the way the seasons have been. But Kane is one of the best in the game, and if they have a chance, they'll do it. And that's why this is a great draw because you can't say it. You can't. It's an argument for everybody.
Arsenal are the better team, but Kane is the best player in the two teams, in my opinion, as well. So it's going to be very difficult to judge who's going to be the winner of Arsenal and Bayern Munich for this quarterfinal tie as well. But I think I agree with the both of you as well. I think Arsenal are going to be the ones that will get through over Bayern Munich in this tie as well. Moving on to the third game. Sarah, it's your time to shine, my friend. PSG, Barcelona. You can set the narrative here, so I want to hear your thoughts exactly on what we should talk about, what we need to hear about from a Barcelona perspective, and then Josh and I will talk about PSG and Mbappe and Bradley Barcola and Kang In Lee and whoever you want to talk about from PSG, Joshua. But Barcelona, Sarah, this is your narrative. Let me hear what you have to say, your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, it brings up the memories, like I mentioned at the top of the stream here. La Remontada, we saw Barcelona lose 4-0. Camp Nou, and then they went back, and I don't know how this game. I think it's the best comeback in sports history. I'm of course very biased, but 6
Joshua
goals.
and I had a podcast about this as well. So we talked about it's coming out next week, actually, when you think about it, Joshua. Best Champions League comeback. So Sarah will have to listen to where we put the 6-1 on that list as well. So stick around for that one, everyone.
I think I was fighting for Barcelona. It's the only time in my life I've ever fought for Barcelona.
It was that or the Liverpool one against AC Milan, but without getting distracted as well.
Yeah.
That was one of the games where Cavani scored that goal, and everyone, Barcelona fans, Real Madrid fans, neutral fans, they were all just there like, yeah, tie over. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Went up 3, so then the aggregate becomes 4-3. And mind you, this is also away goals, right? This was before everything changed. And then Cavani scored that, and I was thinking 5-3. No way. And then, of course, Neymar got the penalty. And then Sergio Roberto, out of everyone, scored in the final possible minute. What a great goal, too. But, of course, it brings up all these memories. And now, we're looking at a completely different Barcelona team. I don't think a Barcelona team that could do this. I'm not silly. And we have a PSG team with maybe the best footballer in the world right now. One of them, at least. And that's Kylian Mbappe. But I really don't know with PSG in the Champions League. Even when they made it to the final, they still couldn't get it done with Mbappe, with Neymar. I mean, I don't know. There's something about this team that you just can't really get behind. The constant shift of players, the constant shift of managers. But I really do think it'll all come down to Mbappe. Now, Mbappe is going to be playing against Jules Koundé and Ronald Araujo, I guess, on that side. So, I mean, that's tough. But
unless he starts in the middle as well, like he did in the last tie against Real Sociedad. So he could be against Christensen, Araujo, and your young centre-back. That would be cool as well. That'd be very, very cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a new generation. Once again, Barca relying on Lamine Yamal. We saw Ferran Torres, Fermin Lopez, Pau Cubarsí, this young generation coming through. It's great, but I mean, they're not as experienced. So will that come into play? I'm not sure. Lewandowski, we're going to need an absolute show from him in this tie.
He's got to run it back, Sarah. He's got to run it back. Champions League heritage just to come and prove for Robert Lewandowski.
There's so many players that have narratives. It's so great. I just for the neutrals too. I feel like for you guys, this is just fun. But yeah, this is total. This whole 2 legs it's up to Mbappe. Whether Barca win or lose, up to Mbappe. That's it.
I agree with you on that one.
It's his last run with Paris. Does that galvanize him a little bit to, want the last dance kind of narrative going? I don't know. Does he want to do something good for Real Madrid as well and knock out Barcelona? Does he have that extra incentive as well? That could be playing on his mind, especially with this tie coming up. Could be. And then what? They have to play potentially Madrid in the final. Can you imagine Mbappe beating Madrid? And then what? Has to go into that change room. Hey, boys.
That would be hilarious. It'd be like LeBron James versus the Golden State Warriors back in the day. And just like all of these players against this one super player to having to deal with it as well. It'd be crazy. But Joshua, let me hear your thoughts on Barcelona, actually. I want to hear more in terms of how Xavi, again, a manager who is leaving at the end of the season as well, is coming against his former manager, the manager who actually orchestrated the remontada comeback as well. Luis Enrique is coming back to Barcelona and is not coming in the home dugout. He's going in the away dugout. This is a big narrative for me personally, seeing how these 2 managers who have played similar styles of football at Barcelona coming against one another as well. Let's hear it, Joshua.
Yeah, the treble winner's coming back, right?
He's ready for it. The last Champions League winner.
I know you've asked me a question, but sorry, he's not really loved, is he, by Barca supporters? Is that correct? Luis Enrique, or is he loved? Is he loved?
I think he's not loved like Pep is loved. Definitely not. He's
a better player than Pep as well back in the day.
Amen. Any Pep style, I'm here. Sorry.
No, but it gets the treble kind of sometimes gets not forgotten, but there were also really low points during Enrique's closer to the end of his career. So I think that's what people remember. But he still did so much with the club. I think it's unfair to put that kind of label on him. But you're not wrong.
Yeah, because what we always read online, and it's all that negativity. It's all about obviously MSN. It's all about the players. Enrique sort of especially what unfortunately happened with him in Spain. It didn't go well for him in the World Cup. It's sort of, I look at, you talk about Xavi, Xavi's done a fine job at Barcelona. He's taken them up to a point. The final chapter would be a Champions League, success, but it's difficult with the teams and the spending power across Europe that Barca are currently struggling with. It's a good time for Barca. I don't know. I'm so obsessed with the English clubs. I don't know what side the draw is in terms of if Barcelona at home first or PSG. I don't know how that works. But for Xavi, it's an opportunity, because I agree with you guys. If you shut down Mbappe, all of a sudden you're in a semi-final, and that just you're managing your club. You've won everything with your club. You are in a Champions League semi-final that doesn't involve a Clasico, which is good. There's no emotion. It could be a Atleti. We'll go on that later on, but that could give you the opportunity to write even more of a legacy that's cemented. And we're all humans. We're emotional. Football's an emotional game. So for Barca, it's a fantastic opportunity in terms of the draw, and in terms of the game, they're playing PSG, who are it is the Mbappe show, isn't it? I think they bought really well in the summer on paper. I thought Ramos coming in would give them that number 9, but it's not done well. Koulibaly, someone I really rate highly at Frankfurt, he's been, oh God, sometimes I've seen in Europe, he's been shocking.
Mm.
And it's been a midfield of
PSG have
history.
been
Like,
PSG have been shocking in Europe so far as well. You're
and
looking
they've
at
got a terrible
PSG.
away record as well. They haven't won. I think Ross Sociedad was the first time they won away for a number of years, PSG. So yeah, it's about Enrique. The reason I brought him up is about what's he going to do at PSG? What is his future's a question mark on him. Everybody comes into PSG to win one thing, and that's the Champions League. Tuchel's failed, Pochettino's failed. That's it. So pressure.
You're looking at PSG and you're looking at how they've been quite poor this season as well. They struggled to get a draw against Newcastle at the Parc des Princes as well. They struggled against Newcastle away at St. James's Park. They struggled against Borussia Dortmund away as well in match day 6. And you're looking at them coming into this tie. And you asked about who's playing first. PSG are playing at home first, and then Barcelona then playing the second leg in Barcelona. You're looking at it and you're thinking, there are some cracks in this midfield actually for PSG. You're looking at Kang In Lee, you're looking at Ugarte. Zaire Emery's been their best midfielder from what I've seen this season in the Champions League as well. Ligue 1, like you said as well, Joshua, it looks like it's going to be sewn up once again. Luis Enrique getting his first title for PSG. But Sarah, this is where I've got to ask you the very difficult question for you. We spoke about Kylian Mbappe being one of the best players in the world, maybe the best player in the world right now. There are a few defenders I think have the capabilities to defend against him. And I personally think Ronald Araujo is one of those top 3 centre-backs that can actually deal with Kylian Mbappe in terms of pace, in terms of agility, in terms of balance on the ball as well. You saw how elegantly Antonio Rudiger was dealing with Erling Haaland last season by crouching down and being at waist height because he knew how to stop him as well. We saw last season how Luke Shaw stopped Erling Haaland in the Manchester derby at Old Trafford by, again, being touch light to him as well. Ronald Araujo has the pace on him as well to keep up with Kylian Mbappe. We've seen Kylian Mbappe dunk a hat-trick at the Nou Camp as well during lockdown as well. But would you agree in saying Ronald Araujo is one of the few players that can actually match pound for pound prime Kylian Mbappe this season?
I think so. I mean, he's arguably our most important player again this season besides Lamine Yamal. I'd say it's the two of them.
Yeah.
And I think he has it in him. But there's just something about Mbappe. I think it is the pace. Like he can get around. He can get around anyone. We've seen it.
It's the pump fakes as well. Even when he's like doing a little shimmy, he can just put a defender well off balance as well. We've all seen that meme of him doing it against Poland in the World Cup or Australia as well. It's crazy what he did.
Yeah, exactly. So like we know he has it in him, but of course I'm happy that it's going to be Araujo that'll likely be on him a lot of the match. So I think that's great, but you gotta almost like put 2 guys on this guy. Like he's so technical. I mean, pace aside, like he's so good with the ball that it's gonna be tricky just for any player. I don't care if it's the best defender in the world. It's gonna be a tricky match. But all I have to say is that Sergio Roberto is still on this team.
Longest serving player, I think, for Barcelona as well.
I tell you right now, he's getting minutes in this game. I'm telling you right now.
He could be the man to double up on Kylian Mbappe. You got Mbappe against Araujo and then Roberto centre mid as well. It could work. You never know how it could work with Barcelona.
And Dembele coming back. Shame.
I forgot about Ousmane Dembele as well. I'll be honest with you.
Forget about him too. He'll be absolutely.
Oh God, PSG is so bad, aren't they? Like they're good, but they're bad. Because we're all just talking about Mbappe. They've got actual superstars who like what?
Ousmane Dembele, Kolo Muani. You're looking at Gonzalo Ramos, Marco Asensio. Got no mention so far as well.
Donnarumma. Their backline's pretty decent. Hakimi. They're mugs. Like, but it's just so. It's just kind of Mbappe. What does he want it? Does he fancy it? It's a perfect draw for him though, because he can win all those ties by himself. I think in terms of Barca and Dortmund and Atleti, I think he can drag PSG there. I don't think he could have done that over 2 legs against the other 4 in the time. Maybe Bayern.
Yeah,
and then I'm going to be a shock here. Sorry, you're not going to like what I'm going to say, but I think Barcelona can do it. Genuinely, first impression.
Not going to like what you're going to say? Wait, no.
Yeah. Because I genuinely think Barcelona have enough quality to beat PSG at home. I think they've got the Champions League heritage as well. I think the crowd will be a bit more up for it compared to in Paris as well. But I think there will be a place in my mind where I think PSG will bottle it because they're used to bottling it in the round of 16. They're used to not securing they're not used to securing the big game results. We haven't seen them have a big game result in a knockout stages for years now. 2020, I think it was. And that wasn't even in the quarterfinals or the semifinals. It was the round of 16 when I think they played against. I forgot who they play against. I'll have to Google it now as well. But yeah, I'm gonna back Barcelona for this one as well. And again, I know I said you won't like me for saying it, but in a group chat you'll be like, "Why did you back Barcelona, Hamza?" I'm like, you'll see why I back Barcelona. But Joshua, what do you think? Barcelona or PSG?
Yeah, I think Barca because
Oh,
I
it's
agree
two
with
out
you.
of two.
PSG haven't got they're not on it. They're not on it. That's just to say they just haven't got the hunger, that cojones. They don't want it.
The
It's
je
it
ne sais
depends if
quoi. They haven't got the je ne sais
yeah,
quoi.
like they just I don't know, man. Like yeah, hopefully. I mean, like Barca, I think Barca will do it. There's more quality across the board. I think a Napoli victory was big for Barcelona. Napoli are no mugs in
Mentally, it
terms of
was so
European.
big for them as well.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
looking at
because
them.
yeah, Napoli struggling in Serie A, yes, but
Napoli's
for them
first
to
team
go,
versus a half cooked Barcelona team with their youngsters coming in as well. Crazy what they could do.
so I think that's quite the only one I can really be like. I think Barca because PSG they've had Mbappe in every game they have. Can't get smoked at St James's Park and believe
That's
that Barca won't have a chance.
Smoked by
Come on.
Kieran Trippier. That was a crazy narrative for
Yeah,
Kylian
like
Mbappe.
Jacob Murphy and them guys, sitting in 10th position.
Bruno Gomes, it's just like it's crazy. The Saudi
Oh
rich
man.
Newcastle.
it plays in Barca's favor that they're also playing away first because PSG fans hate Barca naturally. French fans in
Why?
general. What?
Who
Why do they
doesn't? Who
hate them?
doesn't? Why not?
Why do they hate?
Yes,
Is it yeah, why do they hate them?
Because of what happened in the bloody 2017. What?
What do you mean? But it's not like a pure hatred, surely.
But
I think
Bayern Munich, yeah,
I think
It's like saying Bayern Munich fans hate Man United fans because of
they
what happened in
do.
90.
They do.
They
They
don't.
do.
When I was in Munich and when I was in Milan talking to Bayern Munich fans, they were like, "Oh yes, it's in the past. It's cool." I chat to
Yeah,
them
but
to this day as well. They offer me
because
tickets.
they've also gone and won something.
yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
that's the thing.
Do you know why they don't? Exactly, and
I
they've
get it.
beaten
I
us
get it. I get
every
it. I get
time.
it.
They've
I
beaten us every time we played them since 1999. Every time we played Bayern, they've beaten us.
It's like
So
that.
yeah,
It's like that meme of like they'll let us win one thing and then the other guys will just beat them up. I'll find the actual meme. I forgot what it's called, but I get your point now, guys. In terms of PSG are still bitter about 2017 and the comeback as well. So I kind of get
Yeah.
that as well. Someone who I'm bitter is playing very good football this season and is through to the last 8 is Atletico Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. I'm bitter because Diego Simeone has won Diego Simeone is unbeaten the last 10 years at home in the Champions League knockouts and has not won the Champions League yet. How? Why? What has happened there with Diego Simeone? He's been to what, 3 finals? 2 finals, I think. 2014, 2016. It's not been his turn, unfortunately, as well. Beaten prime Barcelona on the way to some beating Bayern Munich on the way, beating Juventus on the way to these incredible finals against Real Madrid. It's not been his time. But I think genuinely Atletico Madrid will get to the final in this round. The way that they've got against Borussia Dortmund, I think it will be a clean sweep for the 2 games for Borussia Dortmund to not compete against this Atletico Madrid side because Sarah and I have been talking about their praises all season long. Antoine Griezmann, the reel is coming out next week, Monday, after the Barcelona game. I've already got it ready, Sarah. But Atletico Madrid, when they play attacking football, they are a dangerous threat. They are dangerous with their younger players coming through. Riquelme was absolutely fantastic. You're looking at Reynaldo as well on the left wing as a left wing back, Marcos Llorente. Some of these bit part players are doing very good football. Yeah, they're playing very good football for Atletico Madrid. Sorry, let me hear your initial thoughts on Atletico Madrid drawing against Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, I think that that's great for them. I think it's also one of Dortmund's better chances too. Like this is what I mean when I said like all the matches are relatively even. I'm gonna go with Atleti as well. I'm gonna give them the edge, but it's not like a massive what am I trying to say?
Golfing class.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Not to mention how important this Barca Atleti match this weekend is now going to be because it could potentially be a preview to a semi, hopefully. But yeah,
I think it will be. All
I think
Spanish semi-final.
it could be Spanish and an English semifinal. Could be crazy. Could be
as
crazy.
long as it's not
Could
an
be
all
crazy.
English final, we're all happy here. As long as
We're
it's not
happy with
Mourinho,
Arsenal, Man City getting one
we
of them
are
get knocked
happy.
out in the semi-final.
It's all
At least one of
right.
them's out.
Go. But yeah, no, I mean, you mentioned Simeone, but we've also talked so much about Griezmann and how he's also been, away from Barca when they were winning their trophies, whether it's the league or the Champions League, away from Atleti when they won the league. I think Griezmann just deserves so much. So I think it would be great for them. It's a great storyline. A lot of people are really following Atleti this season because they've kind of changed that. I don't want to say boring, but a bit boring football, very defensive minded football, play on the counter. They're playing so much more up front now. And it's been really good. But we also saw them get absolutely pumped by Inter in that first leg. It was 1-0. It should have probably been 3-0. They got away with it there. So that's my only concern. They've shown like a little bit of shakes, and also they've only won 2 in their last 6 La Liga matches. So there's that as well.
They are vulnerable on the transition as well. Going back, they aren't as disciplined as they once were. But the fact of the matter is, it shows that they want to attack more. They want to show a bit more quality going forward as well. And we've spoken glowingly about Antoine Griezmann and Joshua. I'm going to come to you for Borussia Dortmund because the narrative here is you've got a lot of quality in this Borussia Dortmund side in their attacking final third as well. You've got Jadon Sancho, who scored the winner against PSV Eindhoven this week as well. You've got Marco Reus, who just seemingly never says die. Every time he comes onto the pitch, is looking to score a goal, create a goal, and is looking to create havoc, which he has done throughout his whole career, which is great to see as well. He got to the final in 2013, I believe, with Borussia Dortmund as well. I think that was his first season going to Wembley. Could Marco Reus be heading back to Wembley, or do you think this is a step too far for Borussia Dortmund? Let me hear your thoughts, Joshua.
Done a few Dortmund games this season in Europe. They're dogged. They're hard to beat. That's why they've made it to the last 8. I
They
don't
have a
think it's
lot
a
of
fully
players
perfect.
that people have written off already, like Hummels, like Emre Can. You're looking at Fulkrug as well, who I've written off, and he continues to surprise me up front as well.
Yeah, I don't think they're there because they've got an easy draw or whatever. I think they would have given anyone a match, and if they've got Lazio, for example, in the last 16, they would have given them a game. It's a tall order though against Atleti. It's a really tough game. That's a defensive structure. You're going to have lead a lot of goals. Inter had goals in their team and they struggled. Dortmund are going to have to lean a lot on the experience in Royce and with Sancho as well. I mean, look, Sancho's had not the best loan period. He's come into his own in recent games, getting a goal against Bremen on Saturday, and obviously the goal against PSV. But the Yellow Wolf got to make themselves count. The home games in the Champions League are important. You
Yes,
can
that's their
influence
second
your
leg as
team.
well, back at the Signal Iduna Park.
Well, then that's big. That's massive. That's probably as big as it comes in terms of all the 4 draws. The one that when the Depay scored that goal on Wednesday, there was only going to be one winner, in my opinion. Especially Martinez taking the 5th penalty. But from that
And
moment,
Thuram missing that one-on-one chance, that annoyed me so much. Been singing his praises all season. His biggest part of the season, Marcus Thuram, and he fluffs his lines. Awful to see.
Such a big scout back into a proper team. I don't like Inter going out last 16. He's opened up a little bit as well, and then let you beat them. So I don't know for Dortmund, but Dortmund were able to beat PSG. They were able to go to Newcastle and win. I'm making it. That's a good thing now.
It is, even though they're 10th in the league.
They did all right in that. That was a group of death, and they bossed that group of death.
They're still challenging
yeah,
in the top 4 as well. I think they're 5th in the Bundesliga at the moment, behind Leipzig and Stuttgart. So not doing too bad there.
20 points behind Leverkusen.
I love
Currently
to
at the
see
moment,
it.
Leverkusen.
That's the golfing class. That's the golfing class that Jude Bellingham has left them. 20 points from top where they were last season. This time last season, they were top of the Bundesliga.
Yeah. I think it's all about staying in the tie for them. Staying because LA is so emotional. Any sort of they're just so sorry jump in, but they are anything would be a yellow card, red card, goal. Everything is like a movie roller coaster. So you've got to lean onto that if you're Dortmund. You have to.
Yes, true. I'm looking forward to seeing this game as well, especially with the Wanda Metropolitano being one of the most feared stadiums to go to for an away team in European football.
Signal Iduna stadiums.
It's like, what would you say? It's like a football fan's like bucket list when you get to go to the stadium. Signal Iduna, you want to go. Metropolitano, you want to go to it as well. It's crazy how you're looking at the atmospheres, who will have the better atmosphere, and who will actually take their team across the line. The 12th man really stands out in this Atletico Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund tie, but I'm going to stick to lead into Atletico Madrid. Sarah, what are you thinking? Free for Atletico Madrid?
Going for Atleti. Keep it in Spain. I love it.
So it's going to be our initial thoughts so far are Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Arsenal.
That's mine. I don't know about you guys, but that's mine.
That's
I
a
think it,
consensus I've got there, Joshua. Is that agree or
it,
disagree?
it pains me so much until City are out. City are favourites, man. Sorry,
Mm.
that's my head has to go with my heart. So until it happens, City have to be the ones there
So
for
you're
me.
gonna go City, but you're gonna take Arsenal over Bayern Munich?
Oh,
Pain, misery for you
It's
guys.
difficult.
God. Yeah.
If Arsenal could face City in a semi-final, and you both are United fans, are you just hoping whoever's on the other side of the bracket just wins the whole thing at that point?
That's,
What do you do now?
that's literally why we were gassing up Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. We were just there
What
like,
do you
come on,
think?
we don't care about the co-efficiency. We don't care about fifth place in the Champions League and the Premier League. We just don't want these two teams to win, especially
I,
Arsenal, because we're Man
I'm
City
just,
fans. I've had
yeah.
Man City fans going about the treble for a month, and then that's it. They forget about it. They move on. Arsenal fans still go on about their 2004 unbeaten season to this day, 20 years on as well.
Nobody's
Which
done it. Like,
Bayer Leverkusen might, which is crazy when you're thinking
that's
about it as well.
guys, can we give some credit to Leverkusen, but also to Karabag? Because that match yesterday.
Karabag were robbed yesterday. Crazy.
No, I think so too. I actually was kind of upset that
I thought it was
Leverkusen.
a penalty last minute handball, personally.
I don't know. I felt bad. We're talking about this small team in Azerbaijan taking one of the biggest teams this season, best record in Europe right now. Come on.
Was
Unreal.
that their fourth game as well? That was their fourth game this campaign, wasn't it, against them?
Yeah.
Fourth?
Yeah,
They
they lost
played
all
them in the
four.
group. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, it's crazy to think about. Right. My final four, I'm finally going to go for it. I'm going to back Atletico Madrid over Borussia Dortmund. I'm going to back Barcelona over PSG. I'm going to buy Munich's shirt, so I'm going to back Bayern Munich over Arsenal. And I'm going to back Real Madrid over Manchester City. Sarah, go through your final four for us.
I'll go Real Madrid, Arsenal, Barca, and Atleti.
Nice. Joshua.
Atleti, Barcelona, Arsenal.
Misery and misery.
Arsenal, Man City, as Joshua says, in a very painful way. But yeah, great way to end the stream.
At
Everyone,
least it's not the final. At least it's not. I wouldn't be on this stream. If they were separated, I wouldn't be in.
it would have been
Fucking-
hilarious if that would have been the final as well.
Can I ask you guys one thing before we leave the stream, and just that there are no Italian teams in the quarterfinals, and what you guys make of that?
That's why I did the reel on AC Milan going into the Europa League. AC Milan, Roma, Atlanta all shining in the Europa League. Let's see them. AC Milan versus Roma is going to be an incredible tie in the Europa League, and Atalanta facing off against Liverpool, where I think Liverpool will be very, very comfortable in that tie. But I personally think if, again, the narrative of AC Milan is if Rafael Leao turns up, he will shine. But again, for Roma, if Paulo Dybala shows up, they will shine for Roma. So that's going to be a very, very big tie as well. Right, let's go through some comments. So we've got 15th UCL for us. I'm guessing is a Real Madrid fan from Prashant Pade. Prashant Pade said, these days, physical health hazard, mental health Ronaldo, financial position Barcelona, luck Harry Kane, still have life like Tottenham. I don't know what that means, but I'm sorry to hear that. Beautiful draw. Atleti, Dortmund, proper clubs who aren't slaves to money. PSG, Barcelona should give us goals. City, Real Madrid, no words rivals. Arsenal, Bayern, Kane or Arsenal are out are beautiful. From Stu MC. Raul said Upa Atletico. So I'm guessing it's supporting Atletico Madrid. And Stu has also said the arrogance of Brits to ignore other people's feats as well. I think they're just arguing in the comments. But
who is feats?
I'm looking
to be not saying.
I'll show you the comments in a bit. But one final reaction we've got: believe in El Cholo. Okay, nicely done. And one final comment we've got is Atletico, Barcelona, City, and Arsenal for the final four. And Pep Guardiola is going to face against Cholo in the final as well. Simeone versus Pep Guardiola, Man City, Atletico Madrid. Two different football ideologies clashing. That would be the dream. That would be incredible to see as well. And I think Atletico Madrid would win that if it's Man City versus Atletico Madrid. I think they would, genuinely. But yeah, that's my closing statements. Everyone's comments. Thank you very much for commenting. We appreciate you watching and supporting us as well. Sarah, any final words? Joshua, any final words from yourself?
No, let's let's see
No,
what this weekend brings.
mm,
Atleti,
mm,
Barca, I'm telling you, this is gonna be much more important than it was a few hours ago.
Ronaldo Araujo's locking down Mbappe. Call it. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. Joshua, what are you saying? Sancho Ramandata against Atletico Madrid. Will it happen? Our only
well,
representative in the Champions League is a loanee at Borussia Dortmund.
is it? I don't know. Keep
He might
boosting
be
that
sold
fee
in the
up.
summer.
Yeah, keep boosting that fee up. It's good that he's performing. It's nice.
Mm,
But it's difficult to get behind someone who doesn't want to feature for the club. So, but I'm glad he's having a good time in Dortmund and he's shining. That's what I can say. So,
keep
yeah.
it going.
Roll on the weekend. Roll on the FA Cup. Roll on the Premier League.
Mhm.
Atletico
Roll on.
Barcelona as well this weekend.
Yeah,
Big game.
yeah.
And Napoli
Never
versus Inter
stops.
Milan. It never ever
Oh,
stops. And that's what we love about it, which is great. Right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Everyone, thank you very much for commenting on our live stream as well. We appreciate your reaction to it as well. Sarah, big thank you as always. Joshua, big thank you as always. I will go and get my food ready because it's nearly 1 hour until sunset, which is good fun for me. But everyone, thank you very much for your time. Take care, and I'll see you next time.